Schon gar nicht bei Schiff.
And boom, boom, boom. We're live, everybody. Hey, welcome to Red TV in Conversation. I'm Peter Clark, and this is Red TV. Good to see you. Always good to see you here, everybody. Hey, if you're joining me for the first time, thank you for doing that. Much appreciated. Much appreciated. If you come back, if you're coming back, you already know what we're in for. You already know what we're in for. So I appreciate that a lot as well. So thank you for being here. Gosh almighty, we have so much fun on this show, and sometimes I get excited every single time I get a chance to meet with some great people. And that person over there I'm going to introduce in a second here. We're going to have some fun today, but thank you for being here, everybody. So appreciate it. If you like and see what you're experiencing here, please share it with everybody. That's the whole point of Red TV. We want to make sure that we're amplifying people that are doing good in the world. We're lifting all the boats, everybody. That's what we're doing. We're lifting all the boats. So we want you to be part of that. So thank you for being here. I really appreciate that. Let me just put here's how you can reach me along the bottom here. Jump on the website if you like. Give us your comments, your questions, suggestions, all those kinds of things. I always super appreciate everyone being here and so on. Got a lot to cover today. We got a lot to cover, and man, oh man, I get so inspired by people that I meet online, and this is one of them. Here we go. This is one of those people today. So bring a tissue, everybody. You might get emotional with you. But you know, again, there's some amazing people out there that I meet in my network and online and through social media, specifically LinkedIn. I came across this beautiful soul who's out there doing some amazing things, just super, super amazing things. And it just inspired me, super inspiring for me to see people on the front line doing things and so on. So again, hey, thank you for being here. We're going to talk about that right now. Let me introduce you to this beautiful soul. Just an incredible story. I'm going to try to go through it real quick because we got to jump. We have lots of questions to cover. We have lots of things to talk about, and just a content warning for today as well. And I'll put up something to that effect when we go into that direction. We're going to be talking about a couple subject matters that might be a little disturbing, but certainly nothing that you haven't heard before, and certainly not intended to trigger anyone or so. But I just want to give you a little cautionary. We'll be talking about some things that have to do with, children and women and things like that, and just wanted to put that out to you. Okay, so he's the founder. He's the founder and CEO of Hope4. Hope4 is a registered charity out of the UK. It was founded to transform the lives of children and families. Basically, people that are in the worst affected countries in the world, and one of them being Moldova in Eastern Europe. So sadly, Moldova is the Eastern hub, or famous for being the Eastern hub for sex trade and modern day slavery. So that's something that obviously is very disturbing to some people, and it should be disturbing to all of us, by the way. The mission is really simple, but it's when you think about it, in a world today, this is not too much to ask. It's their mission is all about allowing every child to have a right to life, right to laugh, right to play, and it's our global responsibility to allow them to do that without fear and prejudice. Beautiful mission indeed. He and his wife Zoe relocated from the UK to Moldova to focus on those incredible souls who are just, they're just unimaginably impacted by this illegal and immoral invasion of Ukraine. What else can you say what it is? That's what it is. And we've watched all this unfold in the comfort of our homes. And this gentleman and his family is on the first line, of watching this happen and helping people and so on. in the past or now, because we're going to talk about this. I always meet people for the first time, and we're meeting for the first time, which is great. Founder and chairman of Blue Leaf Sustainable Managed Print Solutions. He spent his entire career in sales, and hey, listen, the guy's a rock star. He's been on BBC Two for something called Dragon's Den. I don't know if you know what that is. In America, there's a version called Shark's Tank. And basically, you pitch an idea to people to help you invest and so on. So he's a rock star, been on BBC. And since he's in sales his entire life, of course, he's established a career in helping businesses to commercialize their products and technologies. So the guy is smart as well. So you got to love having smart people and kind people. So we have smart and kind. How do you beat that? I'm so pumped to have this guy all the way from Eastern Europe right now as we speak. Everybody, please welcome Chris Lomas. How are you?
How do I follow that introduction? I can only let you down right now. It's great to be here. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's good to see you. It's so good. Good to meet you. I mean, this is the first time we're really meeting. I mean, I follow your content online, all the things that you do on LinkedIn specifically. Very inspiring stuff. We're gonna touch on that and show people what you do and why you're doing it and so on. But right away, thank you so much for everything you do to inspire me to be better. I'll tell you that right now. Hey, everybody, before we jump right into that beautiful soul over there, I want to show you how you can reach him right there. Boom. It's hope.love. It brings you up to .org. But hey, very clever little reroute there. I love it. .love to go to .org, but it's hope4.love. And today we're going to be talking about things specifically to the Ukraine, but we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different things. And of course, you want to help Chris continue with his journey after you hear it. If it resonates with you, reach out to him, please, or connect with him this way as well, where you can donate. Good to see you, my friend. Always the very first question is you and your family. Everyone safe? Everyone okay?
We are. It's just my wife and I over here. But just give everyone a sense of proximity. When the bombs fell on the 24th, it was loud enough. We were sat just there at our breakfast table, and the windows were rattling. It was like the sound of thunder outside. We're that close. So when they bombed just across the border, which is only 12 miles, and in terms of the scale of bombing, that was close enough. Everyone in the village that we live in, which is about an hour outside of Chisinau, the capital, were all outside their houses, wondering what's going on. And intuitively, every single one of us knew that the invasion had taken place.
Wow. I mean, I won't pretend that I can relate to that, because I can't. And I hope most people can really feel the intensity of that if you think of wherever you live right now, where you could actually hear and or see a war unfolding in front of you. That is quite overwhelming. So I'm so glad that you were able to just hear it and not be part of it. But yeah. I know that you're dealing with a lot of people who have been. Hey, I want to put that into context for everybody. Let me just see if I can do this. It's something I wanted to do this just to kind of put it in perspective, because I think it's so important to understand, it's a small world out there, everybody. That's what it is. It's a tiny, tiny world. So let's have a look and see exactly where you are. Hey, here we are. Just so to keep everything in perspective, whenever you feel really big, everybody, that's where you live, right there. Okay, all of us. Just putting it out there, just letting you know that's where we are on this beautiful little planet. Here's where I am. I'm going to see if I can find where I am, my good friend. And let's see here. My search is, I'm going to go on Google Earth. We're going to go to, here's where I'm located. Let's see if it'll take me out to Calgary, Alberta. I'm in the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. Have you ever been to Canada yet? Have you been to Canada yet?
No. America many times, but not Canada yet. I'd love to go. I've got friends in Canada.
Yes, of course. You got to come to Canada. So there we are. City sitting in the foothills of the Rockies in Western Canada, everybody. So let's go over and show everybody exactly where you are these days, my fine friend. So let's have a look. There we go, Moldova. Let's just see if the map will take us out there and swing us over to where you are. As we pull out from this, it just puts us in perspective of the technology as well, Chris. I think it's just incredible how, and there you are. We're over there, everybody. So specifically, can you point me in the direction of where you are right this second?
So where you have the red marker, if you kind of head north toward the border. We're kind of in that region there, very, very close to the border, in a village called 𝘂𝗶𝘁𝗵.
Got it. Okay, I'm just going to move up a little bit. I just want to put it in perspective for everybody how literally you are on the border of everything
Yeah.
that's holding on TV here. There we are. We're meeting for the first time, everybody. You think I would have had this all prepped and everything, but hey, listen, this is where we are. I wanted to put it in perspective of again, you're on the front lines. I'll pull back a little bit from where that country is located.
So Peter, what's interesting about the Google image is it doesn't show Transnistria. Now, the reason I mentioned Transnistria is Transnistria is a disputed region that borders the northeast side of Moldova with Ukraine. And the reason it's relevant is because it's a pro-Russian territory. It's just a slither of land that kind of flanks that eastern side, that northeastern side. But it's pro-Russian, so it has Russian troops on the ground. It's disputed, so it's not on Google. It's not on any map. It's not recognized internationally. Russia doesn't really recognize it, although it acknowledges it's there. But a couple of weeks ago, there were attacks in Transnistria, and everyone knew that it was Russia doing this false flag stuff, launching attacks on a territory like Transnistria would legitimize them doing what they've already done, which is to place more troops into Transnistria. Now, the hope is, sorry, I'll correct what I've said there. Everyone in Moldova hopes that it's to launch an offensive back into Ukraine. But the fear is that they could turn about and make a play for Chisinau, make a land grab for Moldova. And Moldova's got about 1,600 troops. It would not be a fight. It would be, it would be an occupation. So there's been a lot of concern recently that Moldova could be next. It's a former Soviet state. It's not a part of NATO. It's obviously not a part of the European Union. So it's very, very vulnerable. But there's nothing to gain if they do that. I've not been afraid of that, although it's not stopped people from calling me and saying, when are you leaving? In fact, at the beginning of the invasion, my incredible children who make this possible, Tegan and Max, Tegan's 23, Max, my son, is 19. They're both at university. But they called me up at the beginning of the invasion and said, Daddy, when are you coming home? And I simply said, would it make you proud? And they said no. And they have the unenviable reality of having a dad that would rather die here doing this than sipping coffee in comfort in London. And so my wife and I have really committed our life to this, even if it costs us our life. In fact, we had some intelligence that our lives were under serious threat if Russia did invade. And obviously, there was a lot of concern around the 9th of June being the day they celebrate victory over Russia, in particular celebrates the victory over the Germans. And so I had intelligence call me and say, you've got to get out of Moldova. And I said, well, I'm not going anywhere. And they said, well, we suggest you get your wife out. So we had to get my wife across the border into Romania for, where we did it for 17 days until we were certain that the immediate threat was over.
Wow. See, all of those, what you just described to me is just so, it's just like, it's sadly like a movie. It's like you're describing something that's like somebody else, but it's you, it's your family, and it's the people that you're surrounding yourself and helping with right now. And man, that's just a powerful story. And like I said, so much respect for you and what you're doing and the people there, and good on your sons. The fruit obviously didn't roll too far from the tree. It sounds like they're very proud of you, and they're very, sounds like they're global citizens themselves with that kind of focus.
But my daughter is Tegan, is the 23-year-old, and she's a daddy's girl. She phones me twice a day. My son phones me about twice a month. So still very close, but boys are boys, right?
I was going to say, that's good for a son. That's love. That's love. Just so you know, that's love at the father-son level. Just so you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's really good. Hey, Chris, I just want to make sure there's so many cool people here. I just want to make sure you know there's people watching from all over the world. So I want to make sure it's great to see. Hey, Dr. Rana, good to see you. Always talking about health and wellness and so on. Tim Sohn, good to see you, my fine friend. Thank you for supporting. Always appreciate you being here and conversations. Let's see who's else in here. I think Melody's here. Oh, Paul Mclean. Another beautiful soul out of Eastern United States. He's originally from Eastern Canada, but now he's in the Eastern United States, Boston area. Got to get down to Boston. Have you been to Boston, Chris? Have you been?
No.
See, we got to get you there too. There's lots of places we got to get you. There's Matt O'Keefe. He's out here in Western Canada. Good to see you, Matt. I wanted to make sure that you know there's so many great people here that support you, watch you, and if they don't reach out, which I know they will now. Daniel Hall, you know how I feel about you, brother. I'm cheering for you. Know Daniel, right?
Yeah. When I gate crashed that program that we all met on.
He is full of smarts, and of course his story with his family and so on. He's got so much respect for him as well. Really appreciate him being here and so on. And hey, here's the first shout out. Like your efforts, you're inspirational, and that's the whole point here, Chris. We want to make sure if we touch one person today, one organization who might be able to help you, we want to share that information here today. So hey, so let's talk about something. I talked to a lot of people about you know, doing good in the world, philanthropy, giving back, making a difference, and so on. And you're on the front lines. We're going to get to that. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to show your website. We're going to walk through that. We're going to look at a couple of videos, by the way. I want to make sure people see that. But I also want to just ask you this question, because I talk to a lot of people about this subject matter, the idea of philanthropy, the idea of giving back and making a difference. What does that mean to you? What is the idea of, because obviously it's so part of your DNA. It's at another level. So giving back, philanthropy, what does that mean to you?
Do you know, my understanding of that has changed over the last 15 months since we've been in Moldova. Philanthropy to me used to be the idea that people with money loved other people enough just to give it away. And since moving over here without money, literally as a step of faith, I understand that it's much more than financial. It's a lifestyle. It's emotional. It's physical. Yes, it's important. You know, we need financial philanthropists, but we also need emotional philanthropists. We need physical philanthropists, people who will just say, okay, I consider other people's lives much more important than my own. And that's where my wife and I are. My son, bless him, when we first told him that we were coming to Moldova, said, so you're moving to Moldova for a lifestyle? And I said, no, Max, you moved to Miami for a lifestyle. You moved to Moldova to change lives because it's Europe's poorest country. So yeah, my understanding of it as it has changed. And on that basis, yes, I'm a philanthropist. I would just love to have the money to back it up financially as well. Does that make sense?
That makes a ton of sense, and I'm passionate about that. I think I mentioned to you just before we went on the show, and I'll throw it up behind me. I've been working on the idea of a philanthropy channel for a long, long time, and I get a lot of pushback and interesting perspectives of that word, and that's why I wanted to hear what you thought of it. And you said it like I've never heard it said before, so I appreciate that. But it is so true. The word philanthropy is a very, very old word, and it comes from the idea of for the love of humanity. But again, it has this connotation of people, you know, in cocktail dresses and suits writing checks, and not on the front line. And I think of it differently. I think of it, absolutely, you are a philanthropist. You are actually the epitome of it, which is someone who's given their time, something that you can't get back, something that is so precious on this earth. So like you said, emotional, spiritual, physical, financial philanthropists, we need them all. So I appreciate you mentioning that. And that's why it's important for me to use this platform to amplify people's voices who need to be heard, like yours, my friend. So thank you. I appreciate that. That's a great way of kind of looking at it when we're talking about philanthropy and giving back. Let's jump to, because we're on, because we're going to talk about all about Hope4. Everybody, don't. There's lots of that coming. I'm going to be, we're going to be going into that. The website right there, you can find out a little bit more if you want to help again with the very specific project that he's working on right now, or they are working on in Ukraine. That's how you can reach him as well. Let me ask you this question, and because we're going to be on the LinkedIn platform. I mean, you're talking to people that, in organizations and C-suites and so on, decision makers, if you will. I speak to a lot of people that are in for-profit and non-profit, and talking about corporate social responsibility, how important a role that plays in today's organizations when it comes to things like the UN Sustainable Development Goals, or ESG, or environmental, social, government, so on. How can business, let's talk to those people right now for a second, for you, on your behalf. How can those businesses play a more immediate role in helping an organization like you, who's right on the front line? How can they help you right now?
First and foremost, I've got to precursor this by saying how grateful we are for anyone who has dug deep into their pocket and donated money. One of our longest standing supporters donates £5 a month, and every time I see their name drop, when it comes to, I think it's PayPal, I'm grateful. It's great receiving 5,000. It's great receiving 50,000. We received 50,000 from an institution a few weeks ago. It's great receiving those. But if 1,000 people gave us £5 a month, we wouldn't need to wait for the miracle of 50,000 dropping in, let alone 500,000 or 5 million. But my problem, Peter, is I'm way too outspoken, and I think you've referred to me as a campaigner, and it's true, because I've had to fight really, really hard over the last 15 months, fighting all the time now, because you cannot elevate to the position we have, and I'm not talking about arrogance here. I'm talking about people seeing what we're doing without bizarrely making some enemies, because I've encountered a lot of sofa warriors or keyboard warriors who have an opinion about what we do and how we do it, but those people have never done anything in their lives. But the reason I mentioned that I'm too outspoken is because my concern all too often is that these sustainability goals and green credentials and all these different things become marketing pitches. They become stuff that we feel that we have to have as a corporation. That we've got these boxes to tick to make us optically appealing to our consumers and different things. If that's the reality, we've missed it bigger than Dallas, Texas, to use an American term. Because I'm speaking to CEOs all the time and just saying, hey, just put some sincerity around your commitment, yes, to sustainability goals, yes, to the UN goals, but really to this idea that it doesn't cost a lot, and we're looking at ways that we can help organizations achieve their CSR, but through tax efficient ways. I don't want people to give me money off their top line and put their businesses at risk and different things like that. There's easier ways to do it. If a company's making profit, then their accountant can give them great and clever ways, and we're working on this so we can present that strategy. In America, for example, they have end of year giving because it reduces their tax bill. Sure. And so we've got to start looking at ways that we can work alongside businesses, because I'm not Bob Geldof. I wish I was. Live Aid. Wow, we all remember it. Crumbs, Peter, you must remember it.
I do. I'm of that vintage. Yes,
exactly. Bob Geldof, saying, give me your bleeping money.
Yeah.
Now, I in the first, maybe in the first 12 months, I was in that ilk. I was saying, come on, I'm doing great stuff. Give me your money.
Yes.
But now I realize that I've got to be a little bit more intelligent around it, that I'm still working on this credibility. Every penny we raise, every donation we receive is spent on the reason it was given. It's not spent on me. It's not spent on a lifestyle. it's spent for the purpose that it was given. And so I'm much more in a place now where I want to work alongside CEOs. I want to work alongside marketing companies and say, look, there's a lot to be achieved here, and you can genuinely achieve your CSR strategy in the most tax efficient way possible. This isn't going to cost you your livelihood or your business or but to attach all that to the right organization, and you've got something reputational that defines your legacy as an organization. Do you know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, and by the way, that's not falling on deaf ears right now. I mean, it's a very, very important subject matter among C-suites. I speak to a lot of people running businesses around the world, and I think we are moving beyond the next step. I think the pandemic played a role in that. We're going beyond the idea that it is just a tax write-off in CSR, and it's actually become a functional part of how to be a profitable business, meaning that they have to be aware of not only the constituents that they serve with their products and services and what they care about, but they're also having to do that with their employees. What do their employees care about? And how can we support what our employees care about so that we can retain people, we can attract people into our organizations because we do stand for something. So back to your point is that it's not a wasted effort if you have the right people in place, if they can partner with someone like yourself or somebody that has the passion and the vision for it, and of course the street creds because you're actually doing it. I just wanted to, it's really, that's a conversation. Listen, we're going to have a conversation on that alone about corporate social responsibility. Let's get to your website. I'm going to jump on your website. I want people to understand exactly what you're doing. And after that, I'm going to play a little video as well, because I want to kind of I want people to understand what this thing is. Because it's very powerful. It's a little difficult sometimes to talk about. So with that being said, I want to make sure that I've mentioned this before to everybody. This is just a little content warning. We're going to be talking about human trafficking and things like that. Might be a little disturbing at times to think about, but it is important that we think about it. It's important that we feel it, and because it's in every one of our cities and towns and countries. It's not over there. It's not somewhere else. It's in our backyards, everybody. So let's at least use this little bit of time right here to put it in front and center. So I just wanted to give a quick little caution if for anyone who might be thinking about that. Chris, I'm going to bring up your website. Let's just talk about Hope4. What is it? I'm going to let you talk, but I'm going to bring on the website. We can walk through it a little bit. I want you to talk about what this is all about so that people can understand why they can again engage with you and support you and so on. What is this thing called Hope4? Tell us about it.
So we actually came over as Reach My Street. My wife and I have always cared a lot about people. We're people of faith, and so we had started Reach My Street to do just that, to reach the people on our streets in the UK. Not necessarily homeless people, but impoverished people, people who were hungry, people with children who couldn't afford food. And so we took that concept into, so you got Reach My Street at the top right there. So we brought that into Moldova, but unfortunately, because of the language barrier, Reach My Street really didn't resonate. And so we changed to Hope4. And initially we were going to be Hope4 Moldova, but we realized that Hope4 stands for something greater than a single country, right. And it's not just hope for orphans and desperate families, but as we've touched on, hopes for victims of trafficking, now hope for refugees, or as the Ukrainian ambassador and his wife have taught me to say, forcibly displaced people. And so we now are hope for whatever we need to be. And this isn't about us being all things to all men, but just about being there. People say to me, well, what about Syria? What about Afghanistan? What about? Well, I'm here. I care about those things. I care about Syria. I care about, I'm not political. I'll make a stand. I'm making a stand and making myself very unpopular about Putin's special operation. It's nonsense. I stand on the side of victims and I'll oppose the aggressor every time. I've seen a lot of posts recently about if you don't make a stand, then you support the aggressor. Well, I've made a stand. I've made my decision. So Hope4 was created initially to support orphans and victims of trafficking. But the organization has grown exponentially over the last few months. And so, yes, we will always care about orphans and victims of trafficking, and really central to everything we do is a child. So a child is impacted by employment, a child is impacted by poverty, a child is impacted by trafficking, a child is, no matter how you scale it back, a child is in there somewhere, and we care about children. We care about their parents. We care about their families. We care about their situations. We care about their houses. So, for example, I don't know if you saw the video today, but I put a call out to ask people to help me get a wheelchair, an electric wheelchair.
We'll be showing that. We're showing that. We're going to show that. No, we're showing that. We're showing that. But that's finish the story though. To the point is that you reached out to ask people for this wheelchair. Go ahead.
Yeah. But this just demonstrates the power of LinkedIn, the power of social media, the power of relationships. And so, I've had to pay my dues in terms of this new startup charity, NGO, 𝘖𝗶𝘃𝗃𝗲𝗿 with my beautiful wife. So we've had to pay our dues in terms of, it's not possible just to turn up and say, hey, I'm going to do some good stuff. There's lots of people like that. We've had to go through this credibility, build reputation, and just demonstrate to people, when you entrust us with whatever it is, whether it's a pair of socks or £50,000, it's going to be spent and used for the reason you wanted it. So this wheelchair today it blew me away, because this morning I put a post out saying, who wants to help us buy this €750 wheelchair, electronic wheelchair, for this boy who developed this degenerative disease 3 years ago. His arms are frail. He can't push himself around too well. His mum is knackered. And we were asked, hey, do you know anyone that might be able to donate one? And we said, like, leave it with us. And I just knew LinkedIn loves this sort of stuff. So I said to LinkedIn, hey, can you help me? You just pay half, I'll pay half. And within, I think, about an hour, we had the entire money. So I got straight in the car, raced over to Chisinau, bought the wheelchair, and took it. And it just so happened they were watching this concert from local school children. I've never seen so many guitars on one stage, Peter. You probably have. There's about 15 guitars. I'll share the video with you sometime.
I hope so.
But these children were playing, and I said to this camp that they're being looked after at, hey, can I interrupt this? And it couldn't have been a better scene, because we were able to go in and present this chair. And you can see from the video, just to also say, Peter, for those brilliant designers out there, I built this myself. I'm not a web designer. So everything you see is me, or social media, it's me. And I'm not an expert. I'm just a sales guy. I'm just, you're
the sales guy. Hey, speaking of that, I wanted to mention that, because I think it's actually, it plays to the point of what you're saying about the credibility piece of being able to give it this, there's a tremendous amount of trust and faith that goes into the idea of reaching out to somebody that you don't know. I mean, I don't know you. Again, I vetted you as much as I could. I mean, that's the point of this thing, is that, you have to, there has to be a point where there comes time to trust somebody that they're doing the right things. And there's only so many things that you can show and so on. But I just want to mention here, well, first of all, great job on the website and the content. Number one, you're doing an unbelievable job. And again, I know that you have a business and sales background, which really gives it a tremendous amount of credibility when it comes to, like I said, financial wherewithal for the charity and so on, and where the money goes and so on. You were on Dragon's Den. I don't know the whole story. I watched the clip. I see that there it is below. There you are below in the clip. And I think I watched it and I thought, wow, there's something that came out of that so powerful for me to remind people of why they can reach out to you and do business and so on. So guess what we're going to do? Just for a quick second here, my fine friend. Let's go and have a look at just a little tiny clip from that. And this is what I wanted to show with people, show people that you're, again, as a business person in front of the Dragon's Den. Not an easy task, everybody. Let me tell you, especially the UK version. That's vicious stuff over there. That's vicious. And you held your own. And listen to the comment at the very end of this thing. This is what blew me away. I was like, wow, that's a really, really nice compliment and so on. Let's watch this little clip, just a short 35-40-second thing. A little bit of credibility about your background here.
Hi, pleased to meet you all. My name is Zoe Lomas from On Target Infant Training, and I'm here today to request £200,000 in exchange for 20% equity in the business.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Chris. Good luck.
It's a bittersweet exit for Chris. The Dragons were more impressed by his business skills and acumen than the idea he wanted them to invest in.
If you ever want a demonstration of how to pitch in here, that is it.
Wow. So, right? So to me, when someone says, if you want to know, you want to see a blueprint basically of how to pitch a business and credibility piece, that was it. Wow. So that just tells me a lot about your preparation, your business savvy, how you presented and so on. I wanted to make sure everyone saw that clip. Hey, you're just a youngster there.
Yeah, do you know what, the tie, the size of the tie, it's like carbon testing. It's, you know, you can tell the era when by someone the size of someone's tie, honestly.
I loved it. I loved it. So whatever happened to it, by the way, tell everyone literally what it was, and just tell us what happened, because I know it made its way to Amazon. So what happened there? Just curious.
So first and foremost, I was in the den for 2 hours. You only see about 10 minutes, but it required that investment. It required that, required $1 million marketing budget. It was the fastest selling baby product on Amazon. Just essentially, it taught children how to get out of nappies. So it was an antibacterial ball. It lived inside the toilet bowl. People love it or they hate it. Interestingly, Kate Middleton, when she was Kate Middleton, bought a pack for Prince William and Harry because it helps older people to aim. I don't have that problem, honestly, but it helps older people to aim. So it was just a fun product, It was my itch. I say, Peter, all the time, it was my itch I had to scratch. And I'm pretty sure that everyone has an itch that they would love to scratch sometime. And it just takes, listen, I'm not necessarily complimenting myself, but it takes balls to just say, okay, I'm going to give up my career. Yes. I'm going to give it a go. And because of Peter Jones's comments, particularly a couple of seconds before that, and I know we don't have time to watch the whole clip, but it was incredible, and it launched my consultancy career. The product kind of got lost because I didn't secure that investment. I didn't secure that marketing clout. So it was great experience. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Oh, that's fantastic. I wanted to play that little clip at the end, especially so that people understand the credibility piece for when they're reaching out to you, that you obviously are the real deal that way. Let me just move over to Donate Ukraine here on. Let's talk about a little bit right now, specifically where you are and why you're there. Let's talk about that a little bit. You're dealing with, again, refugee crisis right now of people crossing the border from Ukraine and so on. Lots of displaced children, lots of displaced families, obviously, and so on. Let's talk about, again, the anchor for your charity about human trafficking and orphans and so on. Talk a little bit about that as you're experiencing it now on the border. Obviously, that is still unfortunately in full rage, and it's still going. It's every single person walking across that is vulnerable to these things. Talk to us a little bit about that, about the challenge with orphans and human trafficking now as people are displaced.
So just to give you another little bit of a background, I sit on many of the working groups for the UNHCR now. So I came off a meeting with the UNHCR on the ground here, which was just insightful. And I want to touch on that and give you really hot off the press information of what's going on the ground here. But just to give you a couple of very quick highlights, Moldova is Europe's poorest country. The average salary here is £150 per month. So that means, because crime is conceived from poverty and exploited because of poverty. So before the invasion happened, Moldova was already the world capital for human trafficking. It's estimated that 20% of the population has been trafficked at some point. Now imagine that was a US statistic or a UK statistic or even a Canadian statistic. There would be a worldwide outcry. But because it's little old Moldova, who before this invasion happened, no one knew where it was, it's forgotten about. until now. And the big issue is, we all know that the embargo is that men can't leave. Now, in the early days, they could. But very quickly, the Ukrainian government said, we can't have the men leave and we might need them, which meant that the majority of the people heading across the border, and I struggle to have this conversation, Peter, without getting emotional, because we're seeing firsthand what is going on the ground here. So you have, I think it's 81% of the people coming over are women and children. And Moldova's response right in the beginning was very Dunkirk-esque, and we all know what happened at Dunkirk. The Allied troops were pinned against the shore, and anyone with a boat left UK shores, particularly from the south coast of the UK. They got in their boat, no matter how big or how small it was, and they traveled across the English Channel and collected the Allied troops, which consisted of nations. It wasn't just British troops, it was American, it was Canadian. So it was Allied troops, and they rescued them. And Churchill regarded it as one of the biggest redemption or salvation acts of men ever. And it was just incredible. So this is what we saw with the Moldovans. They all got in their car, they raced down to the border, they swung the car door open, and they said, hey, come in, I'll take you to safety. Well, the problem is, so were traffickers. And so in this confusion, so for example, imagine Dunkirk, soldiers wouldn't be saying to the people who were turning up in their boats, hey, are you legitimate? Are you okay? Am I going to be safe? You just jump in.
Sure. Just go.
And this is what was happening. And we may never know how many women, we certainly know it's tens of thousands, but we may never know how many women and children have been lost. So here's a worrying statistic, and this stuff makes me cry. That at one point there was around 700 children, unaccompanied children, head across the border. They don't know where they are. We support many, many camps, and one camp had, and we know the people that run the camp. They're a lovely, lovely couple. This Romanian guy approached the camp, came with gifts and blankets and food, identifying as a church pastor from Romania. And he said to them, hey, I'd like to help. I'd like to take 10 women and their children to safety. Our church is ready to embrace them. Everything's good. We're ready. And they just said, oh, my goodness, that's wonderful, and gave them 10 women and children, only to find that there was a trafficker. And so those women now, we have intel that that those women are now working in a factory. Their passport's been taken. They've been threatened. They've been beaten. And this stuff, I wish no one ill. I'm a man of love. If people hate me, and my response is always love. That's all I have. But these people, honestly, I'm not afraid for my life. My wife and I have we've closed one trafficker down since we've been in Moldova, and we've had our lives threatened. We have people phone my wife and speak to her in Romanian and say, you need to leave the country. They're after you. They're gun smugglers. And these are nasty people. But education is key, Peter, because most people in the world think that traffickers walk around with I'm a trafficker on the back of their top. But they're sophisticated people. This is a $150 billion industry. You threaten that type of revenue, and they're going to come after you. And so these are intellectual people. They're sophisticated. They're brutes, but they don't come across. So for example, I get passionate about this stuff. I go to refugee centers all the time. We support them, and I'll always go past the border, and they'll stop me and say, how can I help you? And I say, yeah, I'm 𝘂𝗶𝘁𝗵 Lomas from Hope4. I just want to go in. We're supporting this center, and they let me in. And I'll go 10 paces and walk back and say, why did you let me in? And they said, well, because you said you were an NGO. I said, well, how do you know I'm an NGO? I might be a trafficker, and this is the problem. And so I'm soon going to be announcing incredible news. I'm partnering with one of the biggest, most successful anti-trafficking organizations in the world, a British-based organization, bringing them into Moldova so we can combat what is going on both here and also across the border, because we just want to protect and safeguard women and children. That comes at a financial cost. This is why the Bob Geldof in me comes out, but we get to change lives. We get to save lives. I get to do this on a daily basis. Like I said in the video today, it's the best job in the world.
Yeah. Oh, listen, I love your passion, my fine friend. And again, I'm not I'm saying those things so that I don't cry, because I'm going to tell you those stories. I did a lot of research, of course, preparing for us to have a conversation today. Read a lot of statistics, watched a lot of video. Super overwhelming stuff. So I understand your passion for it, especially from, not especially, but I can say I can only speak from myself, from an I perspective. As a male, it's just unfathomable how cruel some people can be, especially people of power, and usually it's men of power that are, obviously leading these very, very disturbing, efforts, if you will. And it's overwhelming. As you said, someone disguising themselves, for example, as a pastor, and then you find out later it's not so much. I do want to play a clip based on that, Chris, because I think it's important to put it in the context of everything you just said. I found something last night that I recommend people, if they want to reach out and watch these kinds of documentaries. We watch these kinds of things all the time. I do, because I want to know. They hurt. I'm just being honest to everybody. They hurt my soul. Like I was saying to my wife, Renuka, in tears, going to bed last night saying, why do I do this? Well, and then I thought, wow, Chris is actually doing it. I'm just even absorbing it. So the reason why I mention that to people is that sometimes we want to steer away because it's not on our front doorstep. But it take the time to learn about it and be aware of it so that you can speak about it, and then you can add your voice to those who do not have one. I'm going to jump to a quick little clip. It's only a couple minutes. It puts everything in the context of what you talked about there. I just think it's really, really important for people to understand the severity of what we're talking about. A little precautionary again about the content, everybody. It can be a little disturbing facts wise, but it's just some facts and so on, so it's not too overwhelming. But certainly I think it's something worth for all of us to be aware of and so on. So let's have a quick peek at this. Chris, I'll be right back with you here.
We went to Moldova first because we heard it was at the epicenter of the trafficking crisis. This is a country where 10% of the population has been trafficked. After the fall of communism in 1991, a severe economic collapse led to half of the entire adult working population leaving the country in search of work. We found that as people were abandoning the country, the children were just being left behind. This created a massive social orphan crisis. Many of these desperate children were winding up in orphanages where corruption runs rampant.
You must understand that exploited women are part of systems, mafias, pimps, control, again, manipulation. And the core of that is to break down further any sense of human dignity. It is a form not only of dehumanization, but it literally is bestial and making a woman into an animal.
One of the things that really amazed us over the course of our travels is that we saw Eastern European girls everywhere we went, from Israel to Turkey, Dubai, Southeast Asia. Back in the US, we saw that they were being exported all over the planet to be used in prostitution.
Yeah, very, take a second, let that sink in for a second. Just very, very powerful statistics in there. This is part of a long documentary, just one documentary, by the way. I think it was out in 2020, this one particularly. I put the information along the bottom, everybody, there, just so you could have a quick peek at it and so on. I know it's disturbing, Chris, so just take a second here. Again, it's the functionality of what you are doing over there and the reality of all the things that you're doing over there. So I wanted people to understand that that when you talk about with passion, of asking people for help. We're talking things that are very, very severe, very so serious. And yet, because they're not on our doorstep every single day, literally, they are, everybody. We sometimes shy away because they're very emotional. So I just want you to collect your thoughts there for a second. I also wanted to bring up something that because I saw you commented on yesterday. And I think it hits home. I'm going to put this comment up because, again, I often say to people, I know this is how I feel. My empathy for what I see around the world is if it happens right there in front of me. I don't have to wait for it to be on my doorstep, and I understand why people need that. But this subject matter we're talking about, for example, is on our doorstep. And you commented on something that was someone posted something yesterday about trafficking, and that they found it. And it was even right in Texas. So I just wanted to show that real quick. I'll see if I'll bring that up, Chris. Because you here it is. It's a LinkedIn post that you commented on. There it is, everybody. Just to give you an example, in April and May, law enforcement in Texas recovered 70 missing children, and the children were rescued from the Texas Dallas-Fort Worth area, Colorado. Everybody, I mean, this is not something that's far over in Moldova and these other places where you think that has nothing to do with me. This is in our backyards. So I just wanted to mention that because last night I think you liking that triggered me to see that, Chris. And again, runaway youths are at higher risk for trafficking and exploitation and so on in the general public. Bottom line is, there's an example of it right there in the Dallas to Fort Worth area, Colorado, places that we just don't think of these things. Your comment, I just want to say thank you for the work you're doing, and I know it was very emotional for you to see some of that. So I just want to
that video, Peter, was our call to action. That we watched that documentary amongst other things, and it just really reinforces the work that we do here. And I've been, we were unsuccessful, but I put a 7 million euro bid in for 5 years worth of work to reverse the reality that Moldova is the weak link in a very sophisticated chain that seeks to protect and safeguard people, and yet they're not being protected, they're not being safeguarded, and Moldova's vulnerable. And I just asked for 7 million over 5 years to make it we talk about blueprint, make it a blueprint of excellence, because if I can't do that in a country of 3.5 million, then I can't do it anywhere. And so we have an opportunity to put in place principles that would become a bedrock of strategies that can be implemented elsewhere. And I still believe that's an opportunity. I know 7 million euros is a lot of money, but when you balance it, 400,000 women, that's not men being exploited, that's not children being exploited, that's just the women. And behind, and everything's driven from this orphan population. 95% of the orphans in Moldova are not orphans at all. They're abandoned. Only 5% are true orphans because of this economic migration that's taking place, because no one's going to work for £150 a month. They're going to go elsewhere. And it's a deeper subject, because when they get to Germany, they're paid €1,000, and that's still slave labor. Moldovans are used to poverty. I'm recruiting people all the time, and I'm just giving them salaries, and they're saying, no, it's too much. And I'm saying, no, it's not enough. Right. And I wouldn't work for it. I don't pay myself. I'm not paid at all. So, but you and I wouldn't work for it if we were in that commercial setting. We wouldn't get out of bed for £150 a month. $200 a month. So. Everything is driven from this place of poverty. And so part of our strategy isn't just to put Band-Aid over everything, it's to teach a nation to fish. So we're constantly looking at ways of stimulate. I come from poverty, I know what it's like, but I had my voice on my shoulder. Fortunately, it was me, but I want to be the voice on the shoulder of other people and say, look, you don't need, qualifications are great. but the school system isn't here. And so to inspire people that you don't need an Oxford education to make something of your life.
Yeah,
you know, I've never worked so hard, I've never been paid so little, and yet I've never achieved so much as I am now. You know, if I was this successful in business, I'd be that philanthropist I need on my right hand. You know,
I hear you. I hear you. Listen, everything you described there. I know this sounds. I've been to Rwanda, for example, on the front, gone there and found. Visited with 26 sponsored children that we found sponsors for in Canada, went and visited them, so I know that feeling you're talking about. There is nothing like it, nothing like it when you feel that. I feel like that when I'm doing this, to be honest with you, when I'm speaking with people like you and amplifying the story. I just want to tell you that because it really makes me feel purposeful when we're using technology as a force for good, which it should be. I want to throw out a couple comments here from people that are here for you. I mean, they're just they're just blown away by your story, and 12 miles from the Ukraine border. So much gratitude for the work that you and Zoe are doing. So just again, more love for Ukraine. Daniel's of course in Maryland, and he's here watching as well, and support that. Great question there. What can be done to support Chris and Zoe in their mission? I think we're talking about it right now. I think the most important thing to start with is education, but second is reaching out to someone like Chris and having a conversation. Find him here on LinkedIn. I have his information right there on the bottom as we speak. Reach out to him and come up with ways of things that you can do. Back to your point, Chris, about that £5 a month or something like that. Everything helps everybody. It's such an important mission that you're on. I just want to put up a few more things. Philanthropy, support, emotional, monetary, and physical. You said that. I love that you brought that up about the physical and emotional philanthropist. That's a great explanation. Melody's in the house from the Boston or from the Massachusetts area. Good to see you, Melody. And yes, a great explanation of that. This is very true statement. Pictures are heartbreaking to witness. Absolutely. That's my beautiful spouse, Renuka, who is commenting there. Chris, but you're there, so you're seeing it in real time, in real life. Here, I'm just going to have a couple more here. Here's such thing. Hey, great question here from Steve. Good to see you, Steve. Talk about big dreams. This is another gentleman right here, Chris, just so you know. He's all about reformation of a new banking system for the world. So, I mean, this gentleman is so passionate about it. Do you work with other organizations such as Polaris in the U.S.? Are there other organizations, or really are you on your own on this right now?
We're beginning to work with organizations again because we've been through this journey of really raising our profile and credibility, and there's a lot of people across LinkedIn, and we benefited from the Leah Turner effect. She was a big LinkedIn influencer who right at the beginning of the conflict got behind us, and she doing what you're doing now, Peter, which has given us a voice. So for example, I've stopped asking people for money a little bit. I still do it, but I the thing I say to people is, like, talk about us, because you're going to talk to someone who gets it, and there's going to be a Polaris, or there's going to be a Richard Branson, or there's going to be an organization that says, okay, I believe in this guy. I will pay with my life. I really, really will. I don't want to. I'd rather be around and help a lot of more people, but I'm willing to make the ultimate sacrifice, and my entire family disturbingly knows that. They hate it about me. But my wife and I are in the same position. We'll pay the price. We just need people to stand with us. So to that point, I would love to connect with organizations right across the world, if not just to raise awareness. This isn't about me and my bank balance. It's not. I say to people all the time, find something that's worth backing and back it hard, whether it's us or another organization, but just make sure that when you're putting money in the top of some hopper and it shakes around, that it actually means something when it gets, and that's not me being critical. We're still in a position where we're able to say that 100% of, if someone donates to a purpose, 100% gets used for that purpose.
Absolutely.
We have other ways of financing people's need for income, because we got about 5 people now. And the great thing is we're still able to pay lean wages, but my strategy is to pay people what I would pay them in the UK. So we would love to work with organizations. For example, the 7 million budget was to employ a lot of people, because we need that physical resource. I'm at burnout. You know, I'm working 7 days a week, 16 hours a day. And honestly, I do not know how I'm continuing. And the only way I am is because, you know, that movie, 𝗟𝗶𝘃𝗵 𝗣𝗲𝗁.
Yes.
Have you ever seen it? And he's saying, just one more. Just one more. His hands are bleeding. Wow, 𝘂𝗶𝘁𝗵 𝗣𝗲𝗲. I'm just addressing my wife. We love that movie. And that's what keeps me going. You know, my family is saying, stop, you know, get away, just pull back. And, you know, but I don't have that luxury because I don't have big backers right now. So it's just one more. I get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, sometimes go to bed at 11, 12, 1 o'clock at night, because it's just one more. And whilst we have that one more attitude, then we just have to keep going.
I love it. I'm so appreciative for people like you. That's why we're amplifying it here today. Rob, great to see you. Thank you for that. Yes, it is. I just wanted to say, yes, I appreciate your comment about that. It is, and it's very heavy. These things happening, it's heavy and unreal to believe. Dr. Rhonda put something up that I think she knows this because she lives there. And I've been to Arizona a few times. It's so true. It's trafficking is outrageous in that particular state. I'm going to assume, I shouldn't assume anything, but from what I understand, it's mostly from Mexico, but not necessarily. It's all kinds of different countries, whether it's the Philippines and all kinds of different countries that are involved, and not just Eastern European. I mean, the fact that you're focusing on that area, we're talking about something that really is in our backyard, everybody. So just wanted to make sure that we are talking about the same language here. This is not something far and removed. It's right here in our backyards. Paul, yeah, my 30 years of fundraising and philanthropy motto is what's next? And absolutely, just like yours, Chris, one more. Kind of reminds me of the starfish story, you know, where you can help that one. I helped that one. So it's really, really important. I really appreciate you telling that story and the passion behind it and so on. Let me ask you this question, my fine friend, because I do want to show a couple clips from your your LinkedIn page. So we're going to jump on that for a second. Let me ask you something that I think it's so powerful right now, because it's a regular conversation now because of the pandemic. But when you add global pandemic on top of war, I mean, war is just at a level that is just incomprehensible to most of us. But when you add war, conflict, displacement, pandemic, these kinds of things, the mental health issues. I know it's a giant subject matter. It's on the top of everyone's mind today, employers, business people, the world in general. Can you talk to that a little bit about the mental health issues and maybe what you're seeing right there in the conflict area?
We are encountering people all the time, because most of our day job is visiting refugee camps, engaging with refugees. And we will stand there and listen to people talk about leaving loved ones. So the displacement part is, and the separation issue, not just for wives, but for children as well. I had to send my wife over the border for 17 days because we'd received a credible threat to our lives. And the person said, your wife will be captured, she will be raped, she will be beaten just to spite you. And so we took it seriously. We got her across the border. But I was the one that was left. So on a micro level, ask her. You know, she had this. I mean, she was sobbing when I drove off from. I left her at her parents' house. She's Romanian. Left at her parents' house in Iași, in Romania. She was sobbing to the point her dad left the room, and I heard him say, I can't witness this. I can't witness this," because she was doing what a lot of people were doing, which is, will I ever see him again? And so you have a lot of women, not a lot, all of the women here, thinking, will I ever see him again? And so you not only have the trauma of separation and the constant worry, will they get the phone call? And we're hearing this all the time when we're speaking to refugees. They'll say, we all wait for the phone call. We all wait. Has our community been hit? Has our house been hit? Have we lost everything? Have our family been killed? And we hear these stories. You know, we were at the weekend, I did an emotional video from 𝗂𝗶𝘃𝗵 down in the south, where I just started to cry again because we were supporting a family whose house had been hit by a missile. They had nothing. They come to Moldova, 𝗂𝗶𝘃𝗵, and the house, the kind of legacy house, because she's Moldovan, he's Ukrainian, and her house had been broken into, stripped of everything. The window's been broke, and they're at the beginning. And we're seeing these stories. Now, I spoke to someone recently, and Ukrainian, and also I met with the Ukrainian ambassador, and I've spent a lot of time with the Ukrainian ambassador's wife recently, and they're talking about generations. It will take generations. You can rebuild a city in a decade. You can't rebuild lives in a decade. We don't know. We can't begin to understand how long it will take to restore trust and restore hope. And you know, this is why we're hopeful. You know, in so many aspects. You know, it's everything. And so the mental health, I think is going to be the biggest thing. Also, the other thing that the Ukrainian ambassador is talking about is depopulation. You know, when the war finally is over, does the wife who's now settled in Germany or the UK or the US or wherever come back to the uncertainty of life in Ukraine, or does he go and join her? And so now Ukraine's worried about you know, the country destabilizing, you know, losing its, you know, pretty much what's been happening to Moldova for the last, you know, number of decades, 40 years. So it's a very complex scenario, and we just have to deal with what we can, where we can. But sooner or later, it's just going to require something of such a phenomenal level. We shouldn't even be in this position, you know, and people in Syria shouldn't be in this position, and people elsewhere shouldn't be in this position, but we are.
Correct. You are so right. And thank you for even saying that. Again, your kindness is great. I mean, in that sense that you think global as a global citizen. We're talking about your area right now because you're there, and that's what you focused your time on, or your life and your energy on. And there's other people around the world that are in very similar situations that also need support and help. And if that resonates with people, great. But like you said, be involved, get involved, learn more about it, and then dive in 100% and help somehow, some way. Even doing this, having the conversation about it, and so on. I want to throw a couple of videos up. I'm going to put it up in the background. We can just talk about it. But I want to show people your LinkedIn page, because you do a great job on keeping people informed and so on. I mean, that's one of the things about a lot of charities, let's just say, or philanthropic nonprofit organizations and so on. It's always about making sure people feel like they're connected, they're part of it. There's a lot of transparency. If anything, you are, my friend, is transparent. I mean, every single day there's an amazing new story, and like you said, you can't throw, you know, a fridge far enough to hit somebody that would have a story that would change your life. You know, that could be a full-time job if you just did that alone. But appreciate the fact that you post those, because it reminds us that you actually are there and you're doing the work and so on. And like I said, for you to be on the front lines like that and tell these stories, I just think it's amazing. So what
just to talk about overcoming fears, Peter, because I hate seeing myself on camera, and I certainly hate hearing myself. I've got a face for radio and a voice for silent movies, honestly.
That's me. I mean, people don't believe that, but I never watch my own shows. I don't like. I know exactly what you mean by that. I really do. So
this is a special one, though.
Wow. Listen, just as a person who makes content, I'm telling you, you're doing an amazing job, my friend. You're doing an amazing job. But yeah, no, I love the fact that you post these stories, and it makes us feel a little bit more connected. Hey, let's show everyone that story that you had there about
And this is the second time I've ever edited a video, Peter. So again, forgive me for getting emotional, but behind this this group of people is a young man who needed an electric wheelchair. And because of the incredible generosity of people on LinkedIn, we were able to buy one. And so thank you to everyone that enables me to do what I do. It enables us to do what we do. So he's using the horn in the background there. I really have the best job in the world. You can see him there. I really have the best job in the world, and I'm just so grateful to everyone who makes this possible. Together we are hope for desperate people. Thank you so much. I will update you further.
Oh, that's beautiful, my fine friend. There you are. Love it. I love it, my friend. That is fantastic. Here, let me just, that's fantastic. The wheelchair story right there. There's another post talking about the wheelchair, everybody. Again, transparency, you're updating people, you're inspiring people to feel connected and so on. Let's go down here. Here's another post you made just for the International Children's Day. Of course, that's one of the main reasons you're over there, and your charity in general, and all that you do is about the children and so on. Let's just see if I can find another video. Here you are meeting with the ambassadors that you just talked about. Everybody, oh, I just wanted to point this out to you, my fine friend. I thought this was amazing. Look at that outfit. That is cool, man. I love it.
That wasn't wasted on them. Yellow and blue.
I'm not laughing at it. I'm saying I love the fact you just big, bold, bright, beautiful colors. I love it. I love it. You got your own colors on, and of course the Ukrainian colors are there. I just love it. But again, there's another example of you posting and being transparent, talking with the ambassadors in that area. There you are, right there, talking to the British ambassador to Moldova, Steve Fisher. These are great audiences that you're getting, my friend. So obviously you're doing something right. I do want to play this one as well. I love this one. Let's play a little bit of this one right here.
It's a really difficult video to leave, actually, because we've just been introduced to a family down in 𝗂𝗏𝘁𝗃 who escaped for their lives from Ukraine earlier on in the war. They escaped to an old family house in 𝗂𝗏𝘁𝗃, which is actually derelict. This is a mum with 5 children, one of which is 1 week old. They have absolutely nothing because of Putin's ridiculous special invasion. Now, I'm not afraid to take sides. I'm not afraid to say what I think. You all know that. But this family needs help. This is why we do what we do, and you support us, because your support makes a material difference. So we brought emergency provisions down for this family who have nothing. They don't have money. The husband's managed to get himself a job, earning 200 lei a day. That's £8 a day. And it's worth it to him because they have nothing. It's worth it to him to work for 200 lei a day, £8 a day, because they have nothing. So we're going to put a lot of support around this family. We've bought them gas so they can cook. We bought them food to cook. They're just going through some clothes right now. We understand their needs a lot more than we did when we came. So with your help, we're going to put a lot more support around them. I just wanted you to see what it means to us, what it means to them. I've shared a longer video where Svetlana, the mother, talks about her journey, and I'd encourage you to watch it. I'm sorry for getting emotional, but this is our reality, and this is the reality of those who are fleeing for their lives. Thank you to everyone who makes this possible. I will update you further.
My friend, much respect to you, sir. Much respect to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. But the stories there, like I said, people that leave things, everything behind, and they're so happy to see a jacket or a coat like I see in the background there. They're powerful. So good on you. I hope someone can find time to reach out to you and connect with you, and I just have so much respect for what you're doing. So just wanted to tell you that. See, didn't think I tried to keep it together the whole time, but
I cannot tell you how grateful I am to you, to people like 𝘂𝗏𝗃, to others who give us a voice, because who am I? You know, who am I? I'm just this guy, this unsuccessful guy in the grand scheme of things, because otherwise I'd be financing someone else. But this guy who came over from the UK and thought that he might be able to change a few lives, and yet because people are getting behind us. So, for example, we raised more than £150,000 because of people like 𝘂𝗏𝗃, because of people like you, since the war began. Honestly, it's flatlined, because people are tired of hearing about the war. They're tired of hearing about Ukraine, and they're tired of hearing about this stuff. So it flatlined. We don't have income coming in right now. Today was a real red letter day because people got behind the idea that we could give this boy legs. And yet it's flatlined. And what do you do? How can you tell people? How can you convince people to stay the course, to stay with me? I don't have a choice. You know, whether the money comes in or not, I have to get out of bed and go out and save lives. But so how do you have that conversation with people? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what it would take. I've said to people, would it take me dying? Would it take me being beaten up or in prison? Would it take me appearing on camera right now with a face disfigured? What will it take? Because I will pay the ultimate price. Just stay with me.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. That's a very powerful message. And remind everybody, again, what will it take? What will it take to get to the next level? And I think having a conversation, just even for a moment. Again, some people dedicate their lives to it. Others can help simply by giving a few minutes, a few moments, a few dollars, and educate themselves and just be aware of it. And just like most causes, of course, we can't support everything. We understand that. Everyone knows that. But find things you're passionate about and find people that you believe in, like someone over there, such as yourself. Super appreciate the work that you do. And I want to throw up a couple more comments here. And back to Rhonda's comment. Yeah, Mexico is the hub for Arizona trafficking. Absolutely. And like I said, not just Mexico, but certainly Mexico is a big challenge for that subject matter of human trafficking. Chris, yeah, and Steve, thank you. Yes, it is. It's very illuminating. It is as well. Asha, good to see you. Always good to see Asha. I hope to see Asha she is one of the founders of Happiness at Work, a conference over in Belgium, Antwerp. It's happening in June, and good to see her. Advisor for 4NL4UA.org. Our mission: we want to mitigate mental scars left by acts of war on innocent people forced to flee. Please reach out to us. We are stronger together. Chris, my friend,
I've made a note.
I'm surprised to hear that from beautiful Asha. I'm telling you, you have met another beautiful soul, my fine friend, right there. So please,
thanks, Asha. I'll reach out to you.
That is beautiful. Thank you, Asha.
Wow.
Good stuff. Yeah. Good stuff. Always hope. Absolutely. Never apologize for being emotional. Yeah. Beautiful work. Beautiful work. And don't doubt that you are. Everything you do matters.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And Melody, thank you. It's so true. Tired of living it. I love that. I think about that a lot. Being tired of hearing it, and think about being tired of tired of hearing it versus tired of living it.
You're so right, Melody.
Yeah.
You're so right. Do you know what, Peter? I often say to people, you know, particularly around trafficking as well. And remember, we're losing tens of thousands of women and children, Ukrainian women and children, whose husbands have every right to expect that countries like Moldova and Poland and wherever they're fleeing will look after them, not lose them. You know, and this is the travesty, that they escape conflict only to spend the rest of their lives being exploited, whether it's sexually or forced labor. And that's the heartbreak. So they are living it, you know, and if we breathe the same air, we've got a responsibility to look after one another. Otherwise, we've lost our humanity. And this is what we're dealing with. Are we still human? You know, and this isn't me being critical. This is me just being real. We get so used to coming home, sticking the TV on and just forgetting life, you know, not watching the news anymore because we don't want to know about it. It's disturbing our entertainment. Well, people are losing their lives. And the reality is, a lot of people believe that Ukraine is fighting for all of us, because if Ukraine loses, Europe's in a big load of problems. You know, and remember, you know, if this conflict goes on and on and on, food prices are going to increase because they export a third of the world's wheat.
Right.
We've got to get a sanity check here in terms of the implications of this war. We owe it to the Ukrainians to stand with them, not forget that they're there.
Absolutely. And again, this idea that the globe is no longer this giant universal place where we are so disconnected. It is quite the opposite. The ripple effects are felt instantly around the world. So what's happening in your neighborhood right now affects me, Chris, and vice versa. So I think I just wanted to make sure that you had that there. It's in the comments.
Yeah, I made a note.
Asha, thank you so much for reaching out and so on, and right back at you. Right back at you. Right back at you for that message. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Chris, I would need to ask you this. Listen, I don't want to eat up all your time. I can sit and chat with you all day, my friend.
Likewise,
but I so appreciate your time, and I want you to stay focused on doing great work over there. So let me ask you this question. I think it's just something that people need to hear. I need to hear it. I need to hear it from you. What keeps you hopeful? What keeps you hopeful and optimistic right now?
Just this belief that we can save people. Just this belief that tomorrow I will have an opportunity to change someone's life forever. And that's what keeps me going. That's sometimes people say to me, why don't you just have a lie-in? I do on Saturdays, by the way. Why don't you just have a lie-in? And I say, well, look, someone somewhere that I've not met yet, that doesn't know my name, I don't know theirs, is relying on me. And whilst that is the case, you can see my beautiful wife in the background. Whilst that is now, she didn't realize she's on camera.
I know, I saw her. I didn't want to say nothing. I saw it.
So she's waving now. Whilst there is this chance that I can save a life tomorrow, that's my reason to get up. And we all know the saying, if every action has an equal and opposite reaction, honestly, the support we receive has an equal and opposite impact on the lives that we reach. So if it stops, we'll never stop. But our ability to make a big impact stops. And I'm not keeping anyone's money. I've given all this stuff up. I'm not here for a lifestyle. I'm here to change lives, and we can do it together. And this isn't a plug. This is just like, if it's not me, do it with someone else. Sure. But let's change lives together. Our social media tags, Hope4 was gone, and I was so glad, because we are Hope4 resonates so much. And I keep saying every time I do a post, it's together we are Hope4, whatever it needs to be. We are hope for orphans, we are hope for people in poverty, we are hope for refugees, we are hope for victims of trafficking. Let's be that hope. Love isn't, I'm terrible, I wasn't educated, honestly, but love is a doing word. It's a verb, isn't it? Love is a verb. Love is a verb. It's a doing word. It's something we do. It's not something we say. We can't say we love Ukrainians and never support someone who's supporting them. If we say we love people, then there's got to be, love is manifested through the stuff that we do. It's like the fruit on a tree. You're not an apple tree unless you're producing apples. And I speak in churches across Moldova. I always take oranges with me and say, well, look, if I squeeze you, what's going to come out? And I always get kids up and they say orange juice. Well, maybe if I squeeze you really hard, what's going to come out? And it's still orange juice. And if we're human, then love's got to pour out of our lives. It's got to come out of every orifice. We've got to stink of love. Do you know what I mean? And when people come near me, they've got to feel loved. And that's what we want to do. Our mission is to let people know we love them, whether we can change their lives or not, or whether it's just a hug and just to say, look, I care, whether it's a wheelchair. We have this, all of us have this opportunity to make sure someone's loved. Now, if we become selfish and hard-hearted, then we're lost. We're not human anymore. What defines us from the animals is love, that capacity to love people unconditionally. And like I said, I've got the best job in the world because I love people unconditionally. They don't have to smell nice. They don't have to look nice. They don't have to dress nice. They just have to be alive for me to love them. My heart breaks for those that we lose. And as we have this conversation, people are being lost to trafficking, and that's unacceptable. So in the words of that movie, just one more, just one more, help me.
Yeah, I love it. Great message. I love it. Stink of love. That's a hash. I got to use that one. Stink of love. I love that. And you do, my friend. You do that exactly. You exude that. And I love that analogy about the orange. I use that often myself. I'm not sure where I heard it from. I'm a big fan of Wayne Dyer. So Dr. Wayne Dyer, I think I heard it somewhere. Again, you know, when you squeeze something, that's what comes out. So you're not going to squeeze that orange juice and get lemon juice. It's just not going to happen. What's inside will come out. So to your point, I mean, we want to make sure that the fruit matches what our roots say. So like you said, we can't be standing with Ukrainians or someone like yourself and then not somehow, some way take an action with it, with love. Love is being the action or the verb itself that you're talking about. Well said, my fine friend. Well said. There is no way. Listen, I could keep chatting with you, and I hope we do it again. I know we will, but I'm certainly not letting you go without having some fun, because I know you like fun. I know you got a beautiful smile. I know you love playing around. I know I see you with it in the videos and stuff when you're with families and so on. You are always trying to make them feel you're on all the time. So I respect you for that. I know what that
Just
feels.
the same, Peter. My sister lives in Vegas at the moment. Her husband's vice president for MSG. And they did live out of Florida, but she's had to go to Vegas because they're doing a big project over there. And honestly, if you were to ask her the question, what is it about your brother you like? She will say every time, he makes me laugh. I love to make people laugh. I've got something here, things we love about Daddy, that my son and daughter gave me. He never fails to make us laugh, number one. You know, and I'm the clown. You know, I do a serious job, but outside of that, I'm the clown. I'm the guy that's going to act stupid and I don't care. You know, perhaps it's hard to think when you look at me through the screen right now, but I'm the idiot. I'm the guy there's a comedian over here called Lee Evans, and I imitate him all the time. I do that crazy walk through airports, and I'll shout and I'll do daft stuff. So bring it on.
Oh, that's awesome. I love it. I love it. And you have to have that balance side, because it's the subject matters that you're dealing with every day. There needs to be a human part of it, and joy is part of it. Laughter is part of it. It's always a big part. I just want to make sure everyone sees, of course, donate right there. We're throwing it up there so that people can reach out to you. All the connection points are along the bottom and so on. But hey, here at Red TV, we just got we do a little thing called this or that. This or that. Really simple stuff. I'll basically refer to two things, and you pick one or the other, and it'll tell me what's going on inside there. I always tell my wife, you don't want to come in here, because you don't know.
Tell my wife that.
Don't come in here. Don't come in here. But so we'll get to know a little bit more about you as the person. So I just think it's important that we do that. So hey, a little this or that with Chris Lomas. Boom. There you go. A little this or that. Hey, this is like a show, isn't it? It's not like a show.
I just got nervous.
Nervous. It's all fun. These are all simple stuff. Start with this one. These will be real fast, because I know you. Hey, listen, kept you so long.
No, it's great. Honestly, I stay all night.
I appreciate that. Here we go. Spider-Man or Batman?
Spider-Man.
Oh, okay. I'm surprised at that. I thought you liked the car and stuff. That's okay. 60s music or 80s music?
60s, definitely.
Love it. Stones or Beatles?
Beatles.
That's the UK, and you see, that's the UK. You know, nothing wrong with that. I mean, you couldn't go wrong either side. But of course, Mick and those guys are still playing, which is super cool. I think they were in Spain. They were just
yeah, I think so.
So there you go. These guys are still doing. You would know this answer, and I'm trying to figure it out for myself. What's a better age? 25 when you were 25 or 45?
I'd 45 for what I know, 25 because of the opportunity.
Oh, say that again.
45 for what I know, 25 for the opportunity.
Oh,
but it's kind of living in reverse, taking what I know from 45 and going to my 25 self and saying, don't friggin' blow it.
Okay, I like it. You're absolutely right. The opportunity at 25 is you're absolutely right. Every day. Now, watch. I hope I'm testing this right, and I hope my pronunciation is right for food. So Moldova food. Mamalinga or Samala?
Neither. They're both horrible.
No, are they?
So Mamalinga is also called polenta. I call it placenta because I can't imagine it would taste anything worse. So that's my little party bit, but I hate both. They're horrible. I hate Romanian food. I hate Moldovan food.
Oh no! Oh come on! Okay, it's not that bad. Everybody who's over there cooking.
Everybody, it really is that bad. My wife was outside for the whole segment. He asked me, "Did I like Mama Liga or what Somali?" And I just said neither.
So okay, so what is your favorite local food then? Give us a. There's got to be one. What does your wife make that you do like? And don't say toast or something like that.
Schnitzel. She's just reminded me. I like schnitzel, but she does soup. She does local borscht. Is it borscht? Borscht. She does borscht. So local soup, and it's nice. It really is. I mean, she's a talented cook. I love to cook, but I don't have any time anymore. But I just like British food. You know, give me an English roast dinner. If anyone's English, they will resonate with this instantly. An English roast dinner. Roast potatoes, vegetables, gravy, meat, you know, just that sort of stuff. But I like Chinese food as well, but just not Mama Liga. Of all the ones, the two dishes you could have said, polenta or Mama Liga or Somali or whatever it was, honestly, it was just hilarious.
I just researched the food. That's all I did. I was like, okay, these seem to be very popular. But I normally ask this question. So you mentioned, so I already know the answer to this. But if I was to say, if we were to meet in the UK, you and I, would we go do Italian food or Chinese food?
Oh, do you know, probably Chinese first. But if we were hanging around for a few days, then Italian. I'd want to take you to a carvery, you know, because the carvery, you get to choose your vegetables and your meats and different things. So actually, Peter, I'm going to hold you to this because I would love to hang out with you for a few days. I really, really would.
Right back at you. Right back at you, my fine friend. How about this for travel? You need a vacation soon. The Caribbean or somewhere in Australia?
Caribbean.
Have you been to either one? Yeah.
No, because my sister lives in America. We are hoping to get back to. I've not visited her in Vegas yet, but she's got a great house in Vero Beach. We'd love to just plant ourselves there for a week or two.
You get yourself to Vegas. I'm just a 3-hour flight north.
Then that's our reason. That we could be there in a few months. You know, there's part of me that won't allow myself that opportunity again because of cost-wise, because we don't pay ourselves a salary, and it's about $2,000 for me and my wife to fly at least to Orlando. But if we manage to do it, Peter, that's a date.
All right, my friend. I look forward to that. How about this? Sunrise or sunset?
Oh, both.
Both.
But I get to see it because I wake up early. I get to see a lot of sunrises, and I just stand there in utter awe.
Yeah, I never lose my awe for that as well, my friend. Same with flight, by the way. I'm always in awe of flight. I'm always in awe. How about this? A day to speak about world peace. Would you talk to the Dalai Lama, or would you rather talk to Joe Biden?
I have a lot of American friends, so that's a really tough question. I think I would love to spend some time with Biden, but perhaps not for the reason that everyone thinks. But I don't want to get political. I just, and also Boris Johnson. Sorry, Mr. Johnson as well. I just love to speak to those guys and just say, hey guys, I'd just like to slap a few people around the head and just get a reality check. You know, the Dalai Lama obviously gets it. You know, he doesn't need me speaking to him. It's the other guys that needs the conversation.
That's a very thoughtful answer. You're absolutely right. I think the Dalai Lama could tell us a lot about world peace. Maybe these other guys need to hear it as well. Yeah, absolutely. How about this one? Happiness or legacy?
Happiness. Get the happiness bit right. You've got the legacy, I think.
Oh, I like that. There you go. That's another. There you go. I love this. You're dropping a lot of good little hashtag bombs. I'm going to make sure I get out there. This one I ask a lot. I ask every guest. It seems to be more, just seems to be quite impactful right now, me asking you this right now, especially in your situation where you are. Hope or freedom?
Hope. You could be in a prison cell and have all the hope in the world, you know, but you could be free and still be in bondage.
That is so true. Yeah, that is so true. No right or wrong to that, but that is sort of, I feel about that as well. There's something about that. Finish this sentence for me, my fine friend. Finish this sentence. I love my life because.
I love my life because I get to change other people's lives.
Boom. There it is. That is the answer.
Even my wife's smiling. This is our life. This
She
is our
wanted
life.
me to just even say hello to us, Zoe. I mean, she, I know she didn't want to come on the show. She was invited, everybody, just so you know.
There's only 100,000 people watching. So
There's no one watching.
there's no one watching. There's absolutely, they've all left after my bad jokes. No, she said no.
The fun part of it is we have some amazing people who watch our show, and they're all supporting you, Chris, right now, and they're all excited to support you in some way, even if it's just through what we're doing now, which is dialogue. I so appreciate. Listen, I just knew this was going to be a great conversation. I tried my best to keep it under 90 minutes, but that's just how it works. I don't roll like that. I just want to.
I would love to come back. I know you're a busy guy, but I'd love to come back. I've enjoyed this more than I ever anticipated I would. So thank you so much for giving me a platform, giving me a voice. And hey, listen, I was looking forward to having this time with you anyway, but you fascinate me for all the right reasons. So we would be incredible friends.
I appreciate that. That makes me feel, anyway, I don't want to get emotional. I'm a very soft guy, you know. That's why I got to keep moving my hands. I start tearing up. Here's the website, everybody. This is how you can reach. I got Chris along the bottom there, specifically LinkedIn. If you're a business and you're looking for that CSR moment, you're looking for something, please reach out. The Facebook page is there. They're also on Instagram. You can see all kinds of, you're doing an amazing job with your social media, by the way. Kudos to you for building your website and putting up your social media. Keep it up with, I know how difficult it is to post because you're trying to be obviously in present mode with people. You want to be in space, but those short little clips keeps us all really engaged, and we appreciate seeing them. This is how you can reach him and his team, Hope4.Love, and this is for specifically Ukraine. You can also reach out, and of course, there's lots of ways to do this, everybody. There's lots of ways. And if it's, as Chris said earlier, if it's £5, if it's passing this messaging on to somebody that you think might be able to help, it's all about supporting each other, lifting all the boats. So if we act like the tide and lift all the boats, it's all going to be good for everybody. So do what you can. And as Asha did earlier, reached out and said, hey, maybe there's a connection there. Things like that. It's all about hope, and it's all about being able to connect with everybody. That's the website. And again, my fine friend, I got so much respect for what you do. I just want to tell you that from just the bottom of my heart. I want to be a better person. I want to transcend. I want to find a better way of being as a human being, and I want to surround myself with people that inspire me to just go so far above where I can imagine. And you allow me to do that with your actions, and you allow other people to do that. So thank you for doing that. And I just pray, I hope that somebody, as your name is Hope4, that somebody hears this message and reaches out to you and help you in any way that they can. I appreciate everybody here in the comments. I can't tell you how much I love when you put in comments like that. All of the support for Chris specifically here. And thank you for showing up. That's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to make sure that we amplify people that are doing good. So we just love you being here, and thank you for that. Chris, my friend, stick around after. I'll just chat with you a little bit if you don't mind, and I'll say goodbye properly with you and stuff. It's just been a joy and pleasure, and everybody else. Hey, listen, I'm winding down the show. Chris, I want to, listen, you have a beautiful spouse there. I see that, a beautiful partner there. I know that. I do too. And I want to support her. She has these beautiful little cards here. I want to do it with you. She has these beautiful little cards. And these are intention cards. They're called Remind. It's just basically a little reminder about the world. It's a little reminder about how we can stay connected to each other. Okay. So you just tell me when to stop here, my fine friend.
Stop.
And there we go. Before I even do that, I'm going to take it right off the top. Self-kindness. Self-kindness. Nurture your body and brain. When choosing your meals, eat fresh food, healthy and wholesome foods. Think red, green, yellow. Think from the rainbow. All about doing that. And that's what you do, by the way. You deliver food, shelter. You're helping people with clothing. You're doing all of the basics, but you're doing it also from an emotional, spiritual side as well, where you talked about earlier, philanthropy. So I think this is a good intention for everybody. Self-kindness. You got to be able to give, have something before you can give it. So be kind to yourself. And that's quite fitting of how we end the show around here. I don't know if you've ever watched this show before, but I hope you do. But
I watched a few before this, so I kind of knew what to expect.
Oh, you did. Okay, so you kind of knew what was coming out there. But hey, This is how we end every show around here. It's all about being kind, everybody. So you know the drill. Yeah, just be kind out there, everybody. Just be kind. That's all you have to do. Just be kind. Good to see you, my fine friend. I'll talk to you in a little bit, and I hope we get that chance to get together.
Me too. And thanks to everyone who's listening.
Thank you, everybody. We'll go into the comments, and we'll be reaching out to you. Thank you for tuning in and so on, and we'll see you again soon. You take care. See you, Chris. See you, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Let's just be kind out there. Let's be kind. Be kind out there. Just be kind out there. Just be kind out there, everybody. Be kind out there. Be kind out there. Be kind out there, everyone. Be kind. As I always say to everybody, hey, just be kind out there. Let's just be kind out there. Be kind out there, everyone. Be kind out there. Just be kind out there, everybody. Just be kind. Just be kind out there. Just be kind. Be kind. Just be kind out there. Just be kind out there, everybody. Just be kind. Be kind out there, everyone. Be kind out there. Just be kind out there, everyone. Just be kind. That's all you have to do. Just be kind out there. Always end the show like this. Just be kind, everybody. Just be kind out there.